I wish I'd never found my husband's secret room in our basement. When the washing machine flooded the basement last October, I discovered that the back wall wasn't actually a wall at all. We'd lived in this house for 7 years. My husband Colin and I bought it right after our wedding. A charming craftsman in a quiet neighborhood outside Pittsburgh. The basement was unfinished concrete and exposed beams, filled with storage boxes and seasonal decorations. Colin used part of it as a workshop for his woodworking hobby. I was mopping up water when I leaned against what I thought was a solid wall, and it shifted, just slightly, but enough that I noticed. I pushed harder and realized it was a false wall, cleverly constructed to look like the foundation, but actually a movable panel. Behind it was a door with a keypad lock. My heart hammered as I stared at it. Colin was at his parents' place in Erie for the weekend, helping his father with some home repairs. I was alone in the house with this discovery that made my skin crawl. I tried our anniversary. Nothing. My birthday. His birthday. Our address. Nothing worked. Then I tried the date we'd met. 0814177. The lock clicked open. The room beyond was small, maybe 10 by 12 feet, with finished drywall and carpet. There was a desk with a computer, a filing cabinet, and shelves lined with notebooks. Everything was meticulously organized. I opened the first notebook with trembling hands. It was dated from 11 years ago, before we'd even met. Page after page of Colin's handwriting, detailing his life in a way I'd never known. Therapy sessions, medications, psychiatric evaluations, hospital stays. Colin had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder at 19. He'd had a severe manic episode that resulted in a 3-week hospitalization. The notebooks documented his treatment, his struggle to find the right medication combination, his journey towards stability. The computer files went deeper. Years of journaling, audio recordings of himself during different mood states, documenting his symptoms so he could recognize warning signs, spreadsheets tracking his sleep, exercise, medication compliance, emergency contact information for his psychiatrist, Dr. Nina Reeves. There were letters too, unsent letters to me, written during the early years of our marriage. One was dated from our honeymoon. I almost told her today. We were watching the sunset and she was so happy. And I thought about how this secret sits between us like a wall. But what if she looks at me differently? What if she's scared? What if she leaves? Another from 3 years ago. She asked again why I never drink at parties. I made a joke about being the responsible one. The truth is, alcohol interferes with my medication and could trigger an episode. The truth is, I can't risk losing control around her. The truth is, I'm a coward. I sat on the floor of that secret room for hours, reading through Colin's hidden life, the careful management of a chronic illness, the constant vigilance, the fear of being judged or abandoned. He'd been stable for over a decade, religiously compliant with treatment, completely functional, and utterly convinced that I would reject him if I knew. I called him that night. I found the room, I said when he picked up. The silence on the other end lasted forever. I'm sorry. He finally whispered, Violet, I'm so sorry. I should have told you from the beginning. I couldn't lose you. Come home, I said. We need to talk. He drove through the night, arriving at dawn. I met him in the kitchen where he looked exhausted and terrified. I have bipolar disorder, he said, the words tumbling out. I've been medicated and stable for years. I see a psychiatrist regularly. I have a crisis plan. I should have told you before we got married. I should have told you 1,000 times since. I'm sorry I hid this. I'm sorry I lied. I took his hands in mine. I read everything. The journals, the letters. Colin, you've been managing this alone for our entire relationship. I was afraid you'd see me as broken. I see you as someone who's been incredibly brave and responsible about their mental health, but I wish you trusted me enough to let me support you. We talked for hours about his diagnosis, his treatment, his fears, about the energy it took to maintain his secret room, his hidden second life, about what our marriage could look like with honesty instead of walls. He started therapy specifically for the anxiety around disclosure. We went to couples counseling to rebuild trust. Slowly, carefully, we dismantled the false wall in our basement and turned the hidden room into a shared space. A library, open and visible. 2 years later, Colin advocates publicly for mental health awareness. He speaks at conferences about the stigma that keeps people isolated. The secret room is gone, but we kept one of his journals on our bookshelf, a reminder of the person he was when he felt he had to hide. I think about the different kinds of secrets people keep. Colin's wasn't infidelity or crime or malice. It was shame about something he couldn't control, managed with more discipline than most people show about anything in their lives. I wish I'd never had to find that room. I wish he'd felt safe enough to simply show me, but I'm grateful for what came after. A marriage built on truth instead of fear, and a partner who finally stopped carrying his burden alone.